Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Moore, for that kind introduction. Platform guests, parents and guardians, extended family, alumni, awards donors, campus friends, staff, foundation guests, and graduates. It is a humbling honor to be with you today as your guest speaker. First, I'd like to congratulate each of our graduates on making it to this day and accomplishing what a mere 6.7%, last time I Googled it yesterday, of the population achieves, and that is graduating from a post-secondary college or university education. Well done. Yes, it seems hard to believe. 33 years have flown past since the day I sat in your chair here at the Ridgetown campus. I should be a little more specific, though, and let you know that our ceremonies were actually in the Livestock Pavilion on a very hot, humid day in June of 1982. With 165 of my classmates, long before the likes of the Rural Development Center and many of the other building enhancements that are part of the landscape here on campus today. Yes, time passes quickly. Much like your years here at the University of Guelph Ridgetown campus, the majority of you came together as complete strangers a very short time ago and shared a common experience regardless of the academic program you chose. You will move forward from this ceremony today with life-lasting friendships stretching to all corners of the province and beyond. From this point, your paths will diverge on new roads, and new roads lie ahead for each of you with all the elements and emotions one can imagine. Fear, excitement, anticipation, uncertainty, happiness, to name but a few. I was there, and I can relate. I can recall that bittersweet day of realizing my days here at the Ridgetown campus were behind me, and like you, experienced the mixed emotions and uncertainty of what tomorrow would bring. Life here on campus was great, as I'm sure you can relate. I believe Trace Adkins says it best in his song, "You're Gonna Miss This." I consider myself very fortunate upon my graduation in that I was already employed at Pride Seeds, part of King Grain. A starting salary of $17,600 a year, a company vehicle, and with less than 10% market share in the region, there was nowhere but up to go. My eyes and my drive were set on that first 50 acres of land that my father offered to sell me at a time when and I need your attention here, a good rate of interest was 16.5%, compounded monthly. My inspiration to move ahead with a purchase came from the first meeting with a particular lender, when I was told that he didn't see my plan as a very workable debt servicing plan, and perhaps I should reconsider my leap of faith. This comment made me even more determined in the years to follow, I can assure you. And I'm sure many of you have very large goals ahead of you leaving here today as well. As I was preparing for this talk today, my memories took me back to an image of a poster. It was a poster that was used here in the early 80s to promote the business of agriculture and the campus here at Ridgetown. It was a father and son. With a farmstead in the background, the two of them were standing in front of an International 1086 tractor. And on that poster it read, the son had paid as much for this tractor as his dad did for the whole farm when he purchased it. Well, I just couldn't quite remember, and I farm a little green where I come from, so I Googled what an International 1086 would be worth in 1980, and it would range anywhere between $36,000 and $38,000. We can assume the farm referred to in the poster was 100 acres. So the math would work out to less than $400 an acre that the father paid for the farm. And yes, that was to purchase the farm, not 1 year's rent. Agreed, things have changed since the early 80s. I can't ignore the obvious and leave out the advances in technology, first and foremost. It's difficult to pinpoint where to start when you consider the changes, even in the most recent 5 to 10 years, let alone going back 30 plus years. You can You can attend the sessions here every January at what I'll call a world-class Southwest Ag Conference. There's nothing else like it in Canada. And even in those 2 days, you can't fit everything in that you would want to. Whether it's precision or prescription ag and crop production, herd management and traceability in the livestock sector, or modern advances in vet procedures and practices affecting our livestock and equine segments, what an enormous task it is just to keep abreast of such advancements. It's amazing to try to imagine what is ahead of each graduate here today, knowing this rapid change will only become more accelerated in the decades ahead. But we know there will also be many reality checks along the way as well. Personally, it came to me this spring. While I was planting corn, reading the headlines of the day on my iPhone as RTK Auto Steer did its job in that 50-acre field. And the story I came across related to the ill-fated Malaysia Flight 370 that popped up on my phone. It really hit me, knowing that there were families and loved ones of those passengers still needing answers or closure for over a year now. We can plant corn hands-free with sub-inch accuracy in our fields, or scan a barcode and know the entire production output or medical records of livestock, but we can't find a missing jetliner with the 239 souls aboard. It's mind-boggling, but a clear sign that technology in the aviation industry will, and already has, changed. It absolutely had to. In my preparation for today, I researched a few facts to draw on from 1982. I was reminded that Michael Jackson released the album Thriller that went on to sell 25 million copies. E.T. was the #1 movie at the box office. Late Night with David Letterman debuted on NBC that year. Gretzky became the first NHL player to reach 200 points in a single season. The very first genetically engineered plant was developed in the name of the Flavor Saver tomato. And the world population was 4.6 billion, a billion of those alone in China. Now, knowing that songwriters and movies come and go, both Gretzky and most recently Letterman have retired. And now that you know my background within a seed company, discussing the benefits of enhanced traits from biotechnology and crop production would no doubt take me well beyond my allotted time this afternoon. So I'll only comment on the world population and a challenge we all face to feed people, in particular when we're blessed with some of the most productive farmland anywhere on earth. It's not my intention to dwell on this point in my talk, only to point out how real the issue is and acknowledge the fact that it will become even more prominent in your years from this point forward. As I said earlier, in 1982, the world population was 4.6 billion. Today, we're close to 7.5 billion. Projections, 9 to 10 billion by 2050. Admittedly, it took me a few minutes to digest these numbers, realizing the world population has grown by close to 3 billion, or 65%, since my time as a student here in Ridgetown. In North America, it should also be noted that the average life expectancy in 1982 was 74.5 years of age. Today, it's 79.6. That's an increase of 5 years of expected life since my graduation. At times, we'd all like to have more than 24 hours in our day. I think many of us share that comment, we know it's not a possibility, but I can tell you, I am more than pleased to know that since 1982, I've gained 5 additional years of life. To do the math, that's 43,800 more hours. I'm good with this. Each of you will play a role in delivering on this ask of feeding a growing world population. But this is no newsflash to anyone in the auditorium. We've all seen these numbers and heard the story many times over. It is my belief the most important role that I play is telling agriculture's great story at every opportunity that I get. Whether it's about new production practices or equipment, environmental issues tied to cropping systems and livestock production, or delivering the good news on animal welfare practices. Many of you, our students, have studied these issues through the livestock portion of the Ag Diploma. vet tech, and performance horse handler programs here at Ridgetown and in Clinton. Each of you have a responsibility to tell your story. You will need to carefully consider the messaging of that story in your industry or your community. It's said that the message must include the following: appeal, clarity, directness, credibility, and transparency. These are the characteristics of a good message which make it easier for the human memory to understand, store, and retrieve. Here's a terrific example. Back in early April, I received an email from Kim Cooper, a good friend of mine and our ag specialist here in the municipality of Chatham-Kent. The email contained the link to a video made for a term paper in animal health right here at Ridgetown. It was created by your classmate, Michael Eckert, from the Seaforth area. The YouTube video very effectively addressed misconceptions around herd health and management in the dairy industry. Kim's closing comment in the email read, and I quote, "It shows some of the bright young minds we have in our agriculture sector." So true. This is an excellent example of how you can communicate the accurate message using one of the many social media sources available to all. It's the biggest challenge put before you today as graduates. I encourage you to speak up, use your voice, similar to what Michael did. Congratulations, Michael. Well done. And Michael, can you please stand, because I don't know Michael. That was awesome. It certainly made my day. As I said, we all have to share our industry message by using our voice, and that means each of us, you, me, everyone here, has an important role to play today and in the future. I suggest that each of you ask yourself 3 important questions. Where do I want to have a voice? What is the best way to get my message delivered? And how can I share my voice to make this a better world to live in? Regardless of the career path or job title you have, production agriculture or agribusiness, landscape designer, environmental consulting, perhaps working in a vet clinic or equine training center, it's important that you have a voice and a clear message. I also wanted to share some personal advice with all of you today as I reflect on my time since leaving the campus here in Ridgetown. I've thought a great deal about what best experience or direction I could share as you embark on your individual career paths beyond today. I admit to being sort of an anomaly standing in front of you today working for the same company all these years. Who does that? Most do not. And I understand most of you will not. But I will say, I have enjoyed going to work every day, and I'm grateful for that. I've taken on roles in different departments within our organization. Each new challenge had so many awesome opportunities. I was fortunate in my early years to have worked for the King family, in particular Mr. Paul King, who honestly appreciated how my ongoing farming operation would make me better at how I applied myself within the company. And likewise, my job experience, specifically the growers and customers that I have come to know and work with, have made me a better producer in my farming operation. It's a synergy that's worked for me. It wouldn't be possible without the support of a very understanding wife and family. I also had to get over being referred to in the community as the nocturnal farmer. My hope is that some of you may get similar opportunities in your experiences beyond today's ceremonies. If I've had any success at all in life, I owe it to the incredible people who I have encountered, worked with, and admired along the way. In essence, that can be said for any and all of us. It comes down to people, special people, who really can, will, and likely have influenced you to become everything you are capable of. Of course, first and foremost, our parents and family. They're with you today, they've been with you throughout your journey to this point, and they have your back moving forward. Many of you are familiar with the meaning of the word mentor. It's defined as a wise and trusted counselor or teacher. In fact, I must applaud the recent efforts of the Ridgetown Campus Agri-Food Foundation, particularly Ridgetown alumnus Ben Arnold, for their initiation of a new mentoring program that a number of you have benefited from as students, and ask that you consider giving time as a mentor in the future. Just like most of you, my first mentors in life were unquestionably my parents. Something my father used to say and has stayed with me forever, and I quote, "This isn't a dress rehearsal." Meaning, live for the day, get the most from it before it becomes yesterday, and he was a believer that you take as many friends along with you as possible. Both of my parents taught me that honesty and integrity always trumps any type of personal gain. As mentioned, I've had some great opportunities in my time at Pride, whether it was in sales, product development, production management, within our operations. The one common denominator, without question, is the great people and the creative minds that I've learned so much from. I found that mentors have an even more profound effect early in life. That's just my opinion. I consider all of our grads early in life, just to specify that. I already mentioned Paul King, and by far, one of the most influential has been my good friend, Dave Bowdy. As was mentioned in my introduction, Dave hired me to work for the company while still a student here in my last year at Ridgetown. This happened just a few years before Dave, due to his entrepreneurial drive, left Pride to start his own company, Mazex. Dave, his wife Brenda, their dedicated staff and family have built a successful seed company literally from the ground up. Dave is a passionate seedsman and a leader, to say the very least, not only within his own company, but in how he gives his time unselfishly back to the industry at a national and local level. He currently serves as the president of the Canadian Seed Trade Association, along with his role right here as chair of the Ridgetown Campus Agri-Food Foundation. Dave shares his passion, his expertise, his time, and his resources in his giving back. I'm very proud to call Dave my friend and my mentor. So I ask each of you, who is your mentor? Who is your Dave or Paul? Beyond parents or other family, it could easily be a faculty member here on campus. For example, maybe Art Schaafsma, Peter Sikkema, Liz Medlinger, a fellow student, a local vet or agronomist. It may be that special someone in your community that has no ties to what you do on or off a farm, or has no involvement in your professional endeavors, but is that sounding board or mind of reasoning that you're drawn to when you need good advice or direction. I encourage you to always look for the best in others and give the best you have. And whatever you do beyond today, remember to surround yourself with great people every chance you get. I would have accomplished less in life had I not done so. Remember, today isn't a dress rehearsal. It's the real deal. You're in the show, and I'm certain you'll have many curtain calls ahead of you. Thank you for this time together, and I wish each of you nothing but success and prosperity in your future beyond this special day. Congratulations again to our class of 2015.